Hey, what's going on? I'm Ruslan with the Dream Junkies. I'm here in beautiful Houston, Texas. We're on the Southern Junkies tour with my brother Alex Faith, and we just finished playing an amazing show. And we're gonna grab some dinner with Sketch the Journalist, and I'm here. I'm here talking to you, world.
Yeah, I like to ask people for my Wado segment your introduction to Christian hip hop or hearing hip hop done by Christians, and if you remember, kind of how you got introduced to that.
MP3.com.
Yeah.
2001, 2002.
Yeah.
The Truths EP. We had a 4-track EP.
Yeah.
Before he signed with Cross.
Yeah, and one of the songs was like Foreplay or something like that.
That was my introduction to Christian hip hop.
So you were a believer then, and you were seeking out music that
I was kind of going to church, not really a believer.
Yeah.
And I heard him, and I was like, wow, this is dope. And then after that, I discovered Future Shock, Cross Movement, LA Symphony, Tunnel Rats, the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Future Shock was in your own city, so
Future Shock
you
were my
kind of connected.
mentors. Yeah, those are my brothers, man. I love those dudes.
Yeah. So did you see them at shows and say, hey, I rap too, and that sort of thing?
They reached out to me on Caps from Soul Seekers at the time. Or I
Yeah.
reached out to him, or he reached out to me. It was MP3.com was dope, man.
Yeah.
That was like that was ill. Like, I don't know why that faded. That was kind of like SoundCloud, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like SoundCloud.
And then you could order physical CDs of MP3s
and they would
stuff.
direct ship and manufacture for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, reached out to them, but Caps reached out to me, and he just saw, I think it was in the city. Vic Padilla, I met through MP3.com. He used to run Holy Culture.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was really cool. Like, connecting with those guys personally. Like, I remember Caps hit me up. We went out to lunch. He took me to Rubio's, and it was me, him, and Red Bones from Future Shock showed up. And it's like a month after I met Fanatic from Cross Movement. This is 2002. Yep, this is 2002, summer 2002. And it was really cool, man. It was a really, really cool time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were just seeking out good hip hop, and you ran across some Christian stuff, or you were seeking out Christian?
I was exploring
hip-hop?
spirituality,
Yeah.
and I was looking at stuff under there's the spiritual rap category.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going to church, and just I didn't know what I actually believed, but yeah. So I was just checking out stuff, and it's like, oh man, this stuff is actually kind of dope.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then how did you connect with Belief and?
So 2005. Belief walked into my church. I was going to the same church. We still go to the same church, the Movement, in San Marcos. And he showed up one day, and we had a mutual friend that I went to high school with that brought him to church, and he just introduced us. I don't think he introduced us. I just saw him, walked up to him and said, what's up?
Yeah.
And we just hit it off, man. I don't think he was saved. He just was like, he had nothing to do, so he went to church with his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we just started kicking in, hanging out, man. And it was cool.
Yeah, and then found out you both kind of were into music and that sort of stuff.
He wasn't yet.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything creative.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. And I had put out a project in 2004 called Out of Order. That's for all the OG, the deep Christian hip hop fans. It's called Out of Order. I think the only place that may have a few copies left is Sphere of Hip Hop.
Yeah.
And I put that out. I gave him a copy. And he hit me up and was like, yo, this is dope. Yo, this is really good. I was like, thank you. What are you doing? Nothing, man. You want to go grab some food? Yeah.
Yeah.
Started kicking it. He just kind of came around as the roadie and a dude who cut hair. And then it was I had got some turntables, and he was standing there cutting somebody's hair, and I was like, you want to DJ? Hopped on, started DJing.
Yeah.
Maybe a month or two later, wrote his first rap, and I was helping him with that. And he was just good. He just raw talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask too about the new album you got coming out, the Due for One, and what I can't remember what number solo album or project it is for you that you
Retail album. It's number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2. I put out, I said, I put out a project more like a mixtape in 2004. 2010, I put out the prequel mixtape, the prequel mixtape, and a prequel EP.
Yeah.
And then 2013, I put out Carry On, and then 2015, I put out
Yeah.
For One.
And did this feel like a different process for you? I know things in your life have changed a little bit. You've been married for a while now. You're doing working at a church even more, and a father now, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, mainly from a community standpoint. I had really good people around me on this project. I mean, Belief has always been around. He's always been really helpful, but I was able to connect with just some A1 producers and amazing people, like people at my team that stepped it up. You know, like DJ Rec has always had fire, but he like came with it on this one. Then we had, you know, we signed Anthony Cruz and moved him out to Cali from Jersey. He's amazing. Like that guy's an animal.
Yeah.
He's really good at what he does. So him, Ray Rock, you know, who's worked with Andy Mineo and Social Club and all those. Like he's a, you know, Heesan Lee. He I think A&R'd or produced. Pretty made beats on Heesan Lee's project, but I think he did like the built the dress that was on her album cover. Uber creative, like just like brilliant guy. You know, he A&R'd the whole project. And I was able to get around really good people who were able to pull the best out of me. Because I wear so many hats and I juggle, it's difficult to like, man, I'm just going to be creative and zone in on this one thing for 6 months. And, you know, like it took me a little longer. Like I had the concept for Do For One for over a year. Yeah. From when I actually had the concept, the name, a few songs recorded to when we actually, you know, April, it would be 13 months since when I actually started. And yeah, I just had a good team around me, man. And Ray Rock was a lot in terms of just like, yeah, man, I think you could rewrite that verse. I think that could be better. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, really? Yeah. Try saying this way. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So just people invested in me, man, and I hope to continue investing in them. So that process was different. In life, I finished a lot of it after having my son. I was trying to put it out before my son was born. Yeah. And I had to, and my wife was like, you shouldn't put out, don't do that. Like take your time with it. Belief and my wife were both like, you need to chill. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. So had my son, didn't work, pretty much was 75%, 80% done, had Levi, and pretty much didn't work on anything for like 3 or 4 weeks. And then it was like, okay, let me push this through. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to make you over-explain your art, but I'm sure some people wonder, there's kind of a storyline in the album of a guy who, and I've just listened to it a couple times, but it sounds like an immigrant who's come to the States, or comes from an immigrant family at least, and has kind of built a hip-hop career and that sort of thing. I'm sure some people wonder how autobiographical that is to even what you're dealing with, or your story.
A lot of it is very personal. Yeah. But it's like, you know, new age slave. Like I got chains around my neck, luxury. You know, I got money in the bank with no spending limit. Yeah. Different girl every week. You know, I'm not smashing different girls every week. I don't have no spending limit. Like obviously that's not real, but those feelings and those emotions are real. I know what it's like to feel out of control. I know what it's like to feel addicted to something, right? Yeah. Those are real things that I've dealt with, and I wanted to articulate it in a narrative fashion where it's really like in an ulterior universe, like what if I would have quote unquote made it as a pop rap artist, right? What if I would have made it? What would have happened to my life? And that was the thought. That was a process in terms of writing the record. It was almost like I wanted it to be like a behind the music, like sneak peek into somebody's life and the thought process, and dealing with the reality that I think a lot of us do have a dichotomy that we struggle with, or we if we're really honest and we search our own motives in our own heart, that sometimes, man, like, do I do music because I'm 100% honoring God and it's all about Jesus, or I do music because I like doing music and I like standing in a platform in front of a couple hundred people and performing, and that actually feels pretty cool. Yeah. It's kind of both. Yeah. You know, if I was to be completely honest with you, and do I let pride take a hold of me sometimes, and do I act like a jerk to people sometimes because I think I'm somebody? Yeah, sometimes, like, to be completely honest with you. So it's exploring all those different things, and then also exploring like ambition, drive, pursuing your dreams, becoming successful. What is it? Like, we don't talk about this enough in the church. Like, it's either one extreme, God wants you to be poor, or God wants you to be rich. Like, we don't ever talk about the middle ground of like, man, what does it actually look like to pursue your goals and aspirations and dreams and be ambitious as a believer? So I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted just to say just some out of the box stuff that I think people don't really expect to hear on, I guess, music from our community. Yeah,
and there's definitely that tension that I gathered from it, that chase your dreams, but also be reality and be responsible at times. And how do you manage that with your family or your other responsibilities and things. So.
And the reality is that like the biggest impact I can make is not standing on a stage and rapping.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest impact I can make is in my home.
Yeah.
It's in my home. It's how I love and lead and treat my wife. It's how I love and lead and treat my son. How I treat my friends, how I treat my family, how I treat those people that are right in front of me tangibly. That, I think, is the biggest missionary field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we think missions and we think global. I want to go global. I want to go global. I want to reach the nations. But what about your community? What about your city? You know, being in Houston, like I love what Trey 9 does, man. Because that brother literally has, like, makes disciples who make disciples. Like,
yeah.
That is dope. Like,
yeah.
it's so inspiring to see a brother like Pyrex, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and to see just like, man, that's really cool. Like,
yeah.
that's really cool. Like, artistically, it may not be my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fully, you know, grasp the whole like H-Town swag and the Texas swag.
Yeah.
But that's dope. Like,
yeah.
That's cool, man. You know, so.
And you even brought up from the stage, like, the story that he's worked and brought this homeless guy he met in New York down to Houston. Like, he did for one what... that's how
we wish we could do for everybody.
Yeah.
We wish we could do it for everybody. I would love to pull someone off the street and completely change their life, you know. But I can't. But
yeah.
I can look for an opportunity to do for one what I would do for 1,000. And I thought that was really cool when he told that story, because I saw the video of him praying for that dude. I think on his Instagram or something. I was kind of like, I didn't really pay much attention to it. I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool. But I didn't know the dude came to live with them.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool, man. So yeah.
Yeah. Good. And the album comes out Good Friday.
Yeah, Good Friday, April 3rd, April 3rd.
Okay.
And then, you know, it's available for pre-order, of course, before.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, I'm really excited about it, man. Shout out to all the producers who did it, who did an amazing job, all the, you know, people that are singing on it. And, yeah, I'm just in a spot, man, where I'm honored to be amongst such talented people. And as I'm growing, you know, success is defined different to me. Obviously I want to sell records and make money. I would love that, but I'm more thinking about, like, you know, again, influencing people who influence people.
Yeah.
I'm thinking my community. I'm thinking John Gives. I'm thinking Belief. I'm thinking about my close friends. And I don't ever want to be the guy that's the biggest guy on his own label.
Yeah.
Like, that's real corny to me. Like, I'm gonna start a label and I'm the boss, head honcho, and I'm the, like, nah. And you know, weird as it sounds, like, I take pride in that they have more followers than me on Instagram. You know, that John will probably sell more records than me with his next project. Like, that's dope. That brings a smile to my face, man. And so expect that, man. You know, Do For One comes out April 3rd. We're working on John Gives his next record, and then we're gonna try to do. We'll see if we can do a Dream Junkies retail album by the end of the year. I'm not gonna say it's definitely gonna happen, but, you know, we'll start chipping away at it. And then obviously touring, man. We'll be all over the West Coast in May. Pretty much, you know, if you're anywhere on the West Coast, we'll be there. And then September, we're hoping to do like a national tour all around the country. So, you know, kingstreament.com. Check us out.
Yeah. That's good.